The myth we've been sold: why Black women entrepreneurs are winning a rigged game. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, hosted by LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. She's your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Jill Hunter-DuBose, a visionary leader who has dedicated her entire life to dismantling barriers and creating pathways for Black women entrepreneurs to not just survive, but to thrive. Jill's work is nothing short of transformative. She's not just opening doors for Black women, she's tearing down the entire structure that was never designed to let them through in the first place. And she's rebuilding it so that Black women can walk through with dignity, with resources, with the support they deserve, and with the power they've always had, but were never given permission to fully claim. Her insights challenge us to rethink everything we believe about entrepreneurship, opportunity, and who truly gets to succeed in this country. Today, I want to share what I learned from Jill Hunter-DuBose, and I promise you, it will shift how you see the world of business, resilience, and what it really means to show up for one another. Let me start with something that might surprise you. We hear it all the time, right? America is the land of opportunity. If you work hard enough, if you hustle long enough, if you're innovative and persistent, you can build anything. The entrepreneurial dream is available to everyone. That's the story we've been told. That's the myth we've been sold. That's the narrative that gets repeated in boardrooms, in business schools, in motivational speeches, and in every corner of this country. But here's the truth Jill shared with me, and it stopped me in my tracks. And it should stop you too. Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States. Nearly 2.7 million businesses are owned by Black women. That's powerful. That's inspiring. That should be celebrated everywhere, on every news channel, in every business magazine, in every conversation about innovation and economic growth. But here's the part that challenges everything we think we know, the part that disrupts the comfortable narrative we've all bought into. Despite this incredible growth, Black women entrepreneurs still face disproportionately high barriers to scaling their businesses, especially when it comes to accessing capital. The playing field isn't level, it never has been, and pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone. In fact, it makes things worse because it places the burden of failure on the individual instead of on the broken system. So let's sit with that for a moment. Really sit with it. Black women are leading the charge in entrepreneurship, yet they're running a race where the track is uneven, the hurdles are higher, and the finish line keeps moving. This isn't about effort, it's not about ideas, it's not about intelligence or innovation or determination. It's about systems that were never designed to support them in the first place. It's about investors who can't see past their own biases. It's about banks that deny loans based on zip codes and assumptions. It's about a culture that celebrates Black women for being strong but refuses to give them the resources to build something sustainable. Jill helped me see three critical insights that I want you to hold on to today. Three truths that we cannot afford to ignore any longer. First, Black women are leading entrepreneurial growth, but their businesses face unique challenges that threaten sustainability and scale. Second, access to capital remains one of the most significant barriers, limiting their ability to compete and grow in markets that are already stacked against them. And third, overcoming these obstacles requires more than individual resilience. It demands systemic change, community support, and a commitment to creating an equitable entrepreneurial ecosystem that doesn't just tolerate Black women, but actively invests in them. Let me tell you about Bee Dixon. Bee founded the Honey Pot Company, a plant based feminine hygiene brand. She didn't start with a trust fund or a network of venture capitalists ready to write her checks. She didn't have a safety net or a family business to fall back on. She started with a personal health experience, a moment where her body was telling her something wasn't right, and a realization that there weren't enough natural, effective products for women who looked like her, women whose needs had been ignored by an entire industry. She had a vision, she had a product, she had passion, she had everything a successful entrepreneur is supposed to have. But when she went looking for funding, she hit wall after wall after wall. Investors were skeptical. They questioned whether there was even a market for her product. They doubted her ability to scale, not because her business plan was weak, not because her product wasn't good, but because she didn't fit the mold of what they thought a successful founder looked like. She was a Black woman, and that alone made her a risk in their eyes. B didn't give up. She couldn't afford to. She turned to her community. She used crowdfunding. She built relationships one person at a time, $1 at a time, one believer at a time. And eventually, she secured retail partnerships with major chains like Target. Today, the Honey Pot Company is a nationally recognized brand. B didn't just build a business, she broke down barriers for every Black woman in the wellness industry who comes after her. She proved that when the traditional systems fail you, you build your own. You create your own table, you invite your own people, and you succeed in spite of the obstacles, not because they weren't there. But let's be honest, and this is where we need to get uncomfortable. B shouldn't have had to work twice as hard to get half as far. That's not inspiration. That's injustice dressed up as a success story. We love to celebrate these stories of resilience, and we should. But we also need to ask ourselves why resilience is required in the first place. Why do Black women have to be superheroes just to get a fair shot? Why do they have to prove themselves over and over again while others get the benefit of the doubt from day one? Now, let me introduce you to Jewel Burke Solomon. Jewel co founded Part Pick, a tech company that developed image recognition technology to simplify finding replacement parts. It was innovative, it was smart, it solved a real problem. Jewel had everything going for her except for one thing. She was a Black woman in tech, trying to raise venture capital in an industry dominated by men who didn't look like her, didn't think like her, and didn't believe in her. That was Jewel's reality. She faced significant hurdles in gaining credibility and securing Senate funding. Every pitch meeting was an uphill battle. Every investor conversation required her to work twice as hard just to be seen as half as credible. But she didn't let that stop her. She built strategic partnerships. She participated in accelerator programs. She focused on assembling a strong, diverse team. And in 2016, PartPick was acquired by Amazon. Let that sink in. Amazon, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, a major milestone for Black women in tech entrepreneurship. Jewel's journey wasn't just about building a product, it was about proving that Black women belong in spaces where they've been historically excluded, systematically shut out, and consistently underestimated. Her success inspired countless other Black women to pursue careers in STEM and entrepreneurship. But again, let's not romanticize the struggle. Jewel had to fight for every dollar, every meeting, every ounce of respect. And that's the part we need to change. That's the part we need to disrupt. That's the part we need to burn down and rebuild. Then there's Pinky Cole. Pinky founded Slutty Vegan, a plant based fast food chain based in Atlanta. When she started, people told her it wouldn't work. They said Black communities wouldn't embrace vegan food. They said she couldn't get traditional financing. They doubted her at every turn. They looked at her idea and saw failure before she even had a chance to prove them wrong. But Pinky understood something powerful, something that can't be taught in business school. She understood her community. She understood culture. She understood that authenticity and connection matter more than any business degree or fancy pitch deck. So she used social media. She hosted pop up events. She engaged directly with her customers, building trust one plate at a time. And Slutty Vegan exploded, multiple locations, national media attention, celebrity endorsements, jobs created in her community, wealth built, dreams realized. Pinky didn't just build a brand, she challenged stereotypes and inspired a new wave of Black vegan entrepreneurs who now see what's possible. But here's what all three of these stories have in common. And this is the part that should make us all uncomfortable. B, Jewel, and Pinky succeeded not because the system worked for them, but because they found ways to work around the system. They leveraged community, they used creativity, they refused to accept no as a final answer. And that's beautiful. That's resilient, that's inspiring. But it's also exhausting. And it shouldn't be the only path. It shouldn't be the requirement. It shouldn't be the price of admission. This is where Jill Hunter-DuBose's work becomes so vital, so necessary, so urgent. She's not just celebrating these success stories. She's asking the harder question, the question we all need to be asking. Why do Black women have to be superheroes just to get a seat at the table? Why do they have to be twice as good to get half as much? And what can we do systemically, structurally, intentionally to change that? Because here's the thing, when we talk about entrepreneurship, we love to talk about grit and hustle and determination. And yes, those things matter. But we don't talk enough about access. We don't talk enough about who gets meetings with investors and who gets ignored. We don't talk enough about who gets the benefit of the doubt and who has to prove themselves over and over again. We don't talk enough about the invisible barriers that make success so much harder for some people than others. We don't talk about the fact that the system was designed to keep certain people out, and no amount of hustle can change that unless we change the system itself. Jill reminded me that this isn't just about fairness. It's about what we're losing as a society when we don't invest in Black women entrepreneurs. We're losing innovation. We're losing jobs. We're losing products and services that could change lives, that could solve problems, that could create entire new industries. We're losing economic growth. When Black women succeed, entire communities benefit. Families thrive, wealth is built, opportunities multiply, generational curses are broken. So when we fail to support Black women entrepreneurs, we're not just failing them, we're failing all of us. We're failing our economy, we're failing our future. So, what does real support look like? It starts with access to capital. Black women entrepreneurs need investors who see their potential, not their race or gender. They need financial products designed with their needs in mind. They need banks and venture capital firms that understand that diversity isn't just a buzzword or a checkbox on a corporate social responsibility report. It's good business, it's smart business, it's the future of business. It also means access to mentorship and business training, not generic advice from people who've never walked in their shoes, but guidance from people who understand the unique challenges Black women face, who've navigated those same obstacles, who can offer real, practical, actionable support. It means networks that open doors instead of closing them. It means accelerators and incubators that actively recruit and support Black women founders, not as tokens, but as the innovators and leaders they are. And it means community. It means Black women supporting each other, sharing resources, amplifying each other's voices, celebrating each other's wins without jealousy or competition. Because when one Black woman succeeds, she creates a blueprint for the next one, and the next one, and the next one. She lights a path that others can follow. But it also means the rest of us showing up. It means using our privilege, our networks, our resources to break down barriers. It means asking ourselves, who am I supporting? Whose business am I investing in? Whose voice am I amplifying? It means recognizing that equity isn't about giving handouts. It's about leveling a playing field that's been tilted for far too long. It's about creating a world where Black women don't have to be superheroes just to succeed. They can just be themselves, and that's enough. Jill Hunter-DuBose is doing this work every single day. She's creating pathways, she's building bridges, she's making sure that the next generation of Black women entrepreneurs doesn't have to fight as hard as B, Jewel, and Pinky did. And that's the work we all need to be part of. That's the disruption we all need to embrace. That's the future we all need to build. So here's what I want to leave you with today. This isn't just about entrepreneurship. This is about how we define strength, resilience, and success. For too long, we've celebrated Black women for surviving impossible circumstances. We've praised them for being strong, for carrying everyone, for never breaking, for always showing up no matter what. But what if we stopped asking Black women to be superheroes? What if we created systems that supported them instead of systems they had to overcome? What if we built a world where softness wasn't a luxury, but a right, where rest wasn't earned, but given, where success wasn't the exception, but the expectation? That's the invitation of the soft girl era. It's the sacred pause. It's the permission to rest, to be soft, to demand support without apology. And it's not just for Black women in their personal lives, it's for Black women entrepreneurs too. They shouldn't have to hustle themselves into exhaustion just to prove they deserve a chance. They deserve resources, they deserve investment, they deserve to build their dreams without fighting for every single step. They deserve to thrive, not just survive. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just listen to this and feel inspired for a moment. Don't just nod your head and move on with your day. Take action. How can you leverage your own networks, resources, and influence to help break down the barriers that Black women entrepreneurs face? What's one concrete action you can take this week, today, right now, to support or amplify a Black owned business in your community? Maybe it's buying from a Black woman owned business. Maybe it's sharing their work on social media. Maybe it's connecting them with someone in your network who can help. Maybe it's investing in their vision. Maybe it's just showing up and saying, I see you, I believe in you, and I'm here to support you, because that's how we change the world. Not with grand gestures, but with consistent, intentional action. Not by celebrating survival, but by creating conditions where Black women can thrive. Not by asking them to be stronger, but by building systems that hold them up. Not by telling them to lean in, but by making space for them to lead. Not by praising their resilience, but by removing the obstacles that require it in the first place. Jill Hunter-DuBose is showing us the way. The question is, are we brave enough, committed enough, disruptive enough to follow? The future is waiting, and it's being built by Black women. Let's make sure we're building it with them, not against them. Let's make sure we're part of the solution, not part of the problem. Let's make sure that when we look back on this moment, we can say we showed up, we did the work, we changed the game. Now go, act, disrupt, and build the world Black women deserve.